While we're simplifying algebraic expressions, sometimes what we need to do is a thing called expanding, and that will get rid of some brackets and allow us to sometimes simplify things or make them a little more useful when we're working with these expressions. So we're going to use this idea of expanding and practice that a bit. So expanding essentially means to multiply. We're going to be multiplying things out and making them bigger. So there's two steps really to it. You multiply each term inside the bracket by the term outside the bracket. So each term inside the bracket here, the x and the plus 4, will be multiplied by the term outside the bracket, the 3. So each of those is going to be multiplied by that. So it's going to be 3 times x and 3 times positive 4. And then when we're multiplying these, what we're going to do is multiply numbers by numbers and variables by variables. So in our first case here, we have 3 times x. Well, there's no numbers in front of the x, but it would be 1x. So we just write 3 times x. We can't combine them together into something, so it's just 3 times x. In the next case, though, we have 3 times positive 4. Well, positive 3 times positive 4, that's just going to get us 12. So we can multiply 3 and 4 together, so we put that down. In this case here, we could not make that into something like a 7 or something like that, so we just leave it as 3 times x. If we look at the next case here, we have x as our outside coefficient, or sorry, outside term, and then we have 3 and x inside as our two terms. So we have x times 3 and x times positive x. So when we expand that out, we have x times 3. We can't do anything with that, so that's just 3x. Or x, we usually put the number first. And then we have x times x. Well, when we're multiplying with the same base, with these here, x times x is going to get us x squared. So we have 3x plus x squared as a result here. In the next case, we have numbers and letters in the outside term, so that'll be following numbers by numbers and variables by variables. So we do negative 4x times 3x, so negative times a positive. Those are different, that's a negative. 4 times 3, that's 12. And x times x, that's x squared. And now we multiply it by the other term. So we have negative times a negative, that's a positive. 4 times 1 is 4. And there's just an x there, so we have to put it in. And now in the last case, even if there's more terms inside the bracket, it still works the same. Multiply everything by what's outside. So I have negative x times 2x squared. Negative times a positive, that's a negative. There's just a 2 because there's no number to multiply it by. X times x squared, that's going to give me x cubed. Remember, that's x squared is x times another x. So x squared times x, that's x cubed. And then we multiply negative x by positive 4x. So negative times a positive is a negative. There's no number, so we leave the 4 there. And then x times x is x squared. And then finally, negative times a negative. That's going to get us a positive. There's no number, so we just put the 7 down. There's no letter, so we just write down the x. And so we have negative 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 7x.